Greetings to the planet Earth from Toronto, Canada, the hypnotic world epicenter. I am Chris, otherwise known as Fritz Thompson, and this is episode 271 of the Brain Software Podcast, and somehow I have this weird soothing voice today. But today, Jeff Mandel, otherwise known as Mike Mandel, and I are going to discuss all kinds of cool stuff from oyster allergies to fear of spiders to how to get dental anesthesia with no needle and no formal dreads. So stay tuned. Here's your disclaimer.
Disclaimer. There are podcasts out there that say things, and there are others that don't say much of anything. And to those of the latter group who attempt to censor us, I've only two questions. Can you really stop us? Can you stop us at all?
Bavarch. So join me in welcoming the only hypnosis trainer who has performed at the 49,000 seat capacity Rogers Center.
True.
A man who is thrilled that he's found a gluten-free pasta that's good.
Hurrah!
And he's a personal friend of Trevor Tilling.
Hi, Trevor.
Please welcome Mike Keith Richards Mandel.
Yes! Okay, let's do it.
Staccato at the ending. Mandel.
Yeah, we're rocking through this.
All right, rock it. So,
any usual banter?
yes.
Promotions?
So
Yeah,
I just want to, this is going to be 60 seconds or less of what's coming up in the world of Mike Mandel hypnosis that you'll want to participate in.
Starting
Number one,
now.
Pycthos, PYKTHOS.com/MM to join the Pycthos Mastermind. If it's even open, it's Timothy and I leading you through awesome training on business development growth. Mike's on the faculty.
Brilliant.
And it includes the Pycthos platform to grow your business. You're definitely going to want to check that out. It's the platform we wish we had back in 2015 when we started paying an absurd amount of money for Infusionsoft. Next thing is the architecture of hypnosis. Go to our website, MikeMandelHypnosis.com. You will be able to click on the events page and you'll be able to sign up for the few remaining spots to our May Hypnosis 5-day training. And finally, I don't know how much time is left on the watch here, but we've got
a full 2 seconds.
The Brain Software Syndicate. You're going to want to check out the Brain Software Syndicate. If you're not interested in learning hypnosis or starting a business or anything like that, and you're a smart, motivated person who wants to live a better life, we just released the Brain Software Syndicate. It's absurdly low priced, even though it comes with $670 of our stuff included.
Yeah.
Plus, it's an awesome community, weekly videos from us and all that stuff. So it's amazing. There you go. Let's move on to our think tank words, and then we can dive into today's content on hypnosis.
That was about 70 seconds. That's really
Not
good.
bad.
So let's look at the think tank words generated directly from Savo Bukicek's think tank. I actually had a battle with it trying to generate them. It was jamming a bit, so I had to
Turning the wheels.
Yeah. First one is ownership.
All right.
Second one is plasticity.
Ooh.
And the third one is feeble.
Oh, awesome.
Feeble. Oh, man.
Okay, well, let's just go really quick here. So you've got to take ownership of things in your life, because by learning new things and doing new things, you will create neuroplasticity in your brain.
And you won't be
that
feeble anymore.
You won't have this feeble life. You will have a strong... You'll have fortitude. Fortitude of the brain and fortitude of your life. There we go. That's what I get. What do you get?
Ownership. We always credit people when we do stuff that they teach. We always give them the credit, and we want the same credit. So we take ownership for the stuff we create. But the bottom line is, I have no idea where to go with that.
I said something in the architecture of hypnosis training about, I said we always credit the sources, and in fact, it's me who's credited with the idea that we credit the sources. So it's now known as the Chris Thompson approach to crediting your sources, something like that. It was,
and now it's all very meta.
It was way funnier when I did it on the spot, and it's not as funny now. All right,
I'd like to give you credit for that. It's now turned to credit from ownership. What about plasticity? Right. Obviously, neuroplasticity. Your brain is making neuronal connections. Try and say that for 5 minutes of acid. Neuronal connections at the average about 1 million per second. So,
plasticity is the opposite of elasticity. So in elasticity, things go back to their original form. You change it, you deform it, it goes back, right?
So the difference, like iconoclastic and iconoplastic.
Maybe. I'm not sure, but yes. So
iconoclast tears down traditions, and iconoplast builds them. From the Greek word icon.
I don't know if the class then would have elasticity in it, but either way, if you just think of like a basketball on the ground, it rebounds because it's elastic in nature. It returns to its original form.
Yes, it does.
Plastic means it changes shape. The plasticine, right? You change, you mold it.
Yes.
So, and neuroplasticity, you're changing how the structure of the brain actually is.
Correct.
All right.
Recreating the brain, rebuilding it. And feeble. You know what feeble fits with me is when people are not at threshold, they will make feeble attempts to change their lives.
Yes.
Well, they'll try it and see if it works. That is not commitment to it.
And the change is elastic because it don't last. Goes back to where it was.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And then they take ownership of their own failure. Don't be feeble. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this. Plasticity to Dracula.
Plasticity to Dracula. Jeez, that's a tough one. Man, I'm really struggling with that.
Okay, how about feeble to Dracula?
Feeble to Dracula. Yeah.
We go phonological. Feeble to fever from infection. Infection from puncture wounds in the neck to Dracula. We're there.
There you go. All right,
let's get to content.
We've got to do some content.
Isn't it funny? I almost feel like we have to go through that. It's an onerous, annoying thing, but we have to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to talk about the power of dissociation. Now, dissociation is every picture of you, every movie of you that you've ever seen, you're dissociated. You're looking at yourself. Every picture is dissociated. Associated is when you're in your own skin, as Derek Balmer used to say. People used to say in your own shoes, but he said, no, you're in your own skin, looking out of your own body. That's associated. When you're dissociated, things feel different or no feeling compared to associated. When you're in your own skin, even in a memory, you're going to feel all the emotions to some degree of depth.
Makes sense.
Try to bring clarity there. I think you were...
No, we're good. Yeah.
All right. We want to do a demo here. Give this a shot. If it's safe for you to do this, if you're driving, you should not be doing it. This is the power of dissociation. Hold your hand up in front of you, facing your palm facing you, about a foot away, 18 inches away. Don't point at it yet. Look at it and say, this is my hand.
This is my hand.
I just feel what that feels like. This is my hand.
This is my hand.
My hand.
My hand.
My hand.
My hand.
Okay, shake your hand, shake it off. Now, put your hand with the palm away from you at arm's length. And fingers open still. Point at it with your other hand and say, that hand.
That hand.
That hand over there.
That hand over there.
Look at that hand.
Look at that hand.
Look at that hand there.
Look at that hand there.
Notice how it doesn't feel like it's yours? Isn't that weird?
It's a weird, I'll say dissociated because I know what that means, but it's a weird disconnected feeling.
Absolutely
Yes.
it is. It's funny, I worked with somebody with phantom limb syndrome when I was a therapist. And the interesting thing about phantom limb is not only do they still feel it, but it begins to disappear in segments.
Yeah.
So they can still feel the hand, but they might not feel like they have a forearm.
Right. It's like that hand is floating there, but they still feel it.
And that's sort of the sensation I get with this, but without the feeling.
Yeah.
So association enables you to feel emotions. Dissociation puts space. I wanted to get a good terminology. Dissociation puts space between feelings and us. And this is a very, very useful stuff. We can dissociate to stop things happening in our brain. For example, when we run the allergy treatment, which we really call the immune system retrain, we don't cure anything. We don't fix anything.
Others
the
have
client
called it
cures
the
themselves.
allergy cure.
Well, the client can cure their own allergy if they want. If it's gone, it's cured as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But we don't cure anything. We walk we'll edit that out. We walk people through processes. And if they get a great result, I'm not going to complain. We had in our class, over the years in our live class, we generally do a demonstration of retraining someone's immune system, getting rid of their allergy completely, even if it's a strong one. And we've had it happen with the celery allergy in like 7 minutes, completely gone and tested. Even things like cat allergies. We've done that in the class. Rick Green.
Yep.
Vivian
we've
did it
not
over
done.
lunch.
The funny thing is that we didn't
Our
even
students
do
did
the
that
cat allergies. They did it to themselves as practice
Dr.
partners.
Viv did it.
Yeah,
when they were
Viv
having
and
lunch.
Rick did it together.
Yep. Lilacs. Rob.
Rob, he was, again, one of the students did this on him during practice, and his lilacs and it turned into like grass clippings and other things that he was allergic to, completely gone.
Amazing.
We in the class have done with the celery and the carrot. We've done lactose intolerance, and then most recently
shellfish, oysters, and shrimp, and amazing because the person in the class, very nice woman, Jen, she and her husband had these oyster beds, and they were setting up this business in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, they're buying a new property that has a
horribly
farming
sensitive
rights
to them.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't matter if it's a food sensitivity or an actual allergy that causes anaphylaxis. Now we are not telling anyone to do this on themselves, and then if you're super sensitive to nuts or something, don't run this on yourself and go and test it. Do not test it.
Yeah, don't go risking anaphylaxis.
Go to your doctor. No,
guys.
I've been in anaphylaxis. It's not a fun place to be, but always go back to your doctor or allergist and let them test it for you if you run the process. But Jen, we ran the oyster one on her. Always telling people to test.
We'll be putting it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
She gave us permission to record it.
She did, and you see her with her husband. and they're having supper, and she gets a raw oyster and
She
eats it.
posted a video. Actually,
Yeah.
he recorded it from his phone, and she ate the oyster
And just sort of
didn't
smiled and went,
and didn't have a response.
Yeah.
And normally by the next morning, I think she said to us, by the next morning, she would definitely have had all kinds of gastro issues and
nausea.
not fun stuff.
Yeah.
And she had none of that.
None. And this is a fairly typical result. So how do we do it? We do it through dissociation, which is the entire point here. And I'll just tell you the basic process. We have the person sitting looking at a wall, maybe 10 feet away, maybe more. Because remember, as we put greater distance, the dissociation increases. Hugh Comerford, NLP trainer, very good friend of ours, excellent NLP trainer, he said, if dissociation is too close, it will start to bleed over. The emotions will start to bleed over.
So almost have someone, imagine another version of them at the end of a bowling alley. Or
That
something.
would work. Yeah. Only they're not actually bowling.
Not actually bowling, but
Right.
something like
But
that.
it
Very
could
far.
be bowling.
Yeah.
So if you're allergic to bowling balls or pin setting machines, this would be a great one to do. So you put another you across the room sitting down like you, dressed the same as you. And that other you is very happy and healthy. And you imagine a bulletproof glass wall comes across and it's
Seals
there's
the
no
whole
air, nothing.
space.
Sealed off.
We go
Nothing can get
hermetically sealed. Nothing can get through.
Absolutely.
Not a single molecule.
Not a molecule can get through. And now we get a counterexample. We're going to anchor this. Now say the person, I worked with one, the person was sensitive to milk. They like milk but couldn't drink it. They get a very sick stomach from it. I said, what can you drink that's similar? Coconut milk. Well, perfect counterexample.
It's funny. I was just going to say that.
Just imagine you're drinking coconut milk and how strong, good you feel and how much you enjoy that. And
That other you over there.
Well, I'm anchoring it with the
Yeah.
person sitting
Yeah.
there. I'm setting a counterexample.
Oh, sorry. We
Take
haven't
one.
gotten to the...
No.
Actually, yeah.
So I'll say, now breathe. This is you at your most powerful. I'm stacking anchors here. Breathing, changing the person's state. And imagine you're feeling great and you're drinking coconut milk and you love coconut milk and you're just great.
So
Okay.
you're setting up a safety anchor
That I can
and they're in a
squeeze.
resourceful state. Everything's
Right.
good. You set this anchor up now in advance with the actual person in the chair.
Yeah.
They're not imagining themselves at the other end of the bowling alley
No.
yet.
Now this
The bowling alley.
there's some flexibility in how to do this.
Right.
So this is one way I typically do it. Now I say, imagine that other you, and that other you has an actual glass of coconut milk. And we just watch, and that other you is drinking the coconut milk and is enjoying it. It's just fine. I'm holding the anchors. I'm
And
saying
that other
now.
you is now
The other
down there.
you is down there behind the glass, looks the same as you, dressed the same as, drinking coconut milk and smiling
And
and
it's totally
feeling great.
fine.
Totally fine, feeling it. And I'm going to emphasize this. Now, the one thing I've left out at the beginning, and I recommend adding this to it, is you talk about how a phobia is thinking something harmless is dangerous. And we frame it that an allergy is like a phobia of the immune system. They're taking something that is harmless or even nutritious or whatever and seeing it as though it's dangerous and the immune system is acting
And
that
if you're
way.
doing this on yourself, you don't have to do that now because you just heard
Because you
Mike
just heard
explain
it, and you'll
There we
remember. Your unconscious won't miss it. So now, still the other you. Now the other you gets a glass of milk. It's handed to the other you, and I'm holding the safety anchor
And you're
here
and
with the
remember
person.
that
And
other
remember
you is
that other
over
you is
there.
happy. He's fine. He can drink it with no trouble, and he's way over there. And he loves milk. He's okay, isn't he? Yeah. And he's drinking. He drinks the whole glass. And look how great he feels. I'm holding the safety anchor. Okay, and I'm watching this person to make sure there's no artifact, because I've asked them in the beginning, if you drink milk, tell me about it. I want you to get a bit of a feel for it, and I'll look at them.
You'll see
calibrate
this in the video we post on YouTube.
You'll get all that. So these are the big chunks. Okay, now the glass moves aside, and the other you grab that other you and pull him or her inside right into you and integrate everything he knows and has learned and how great he feels. Breathe it in. I'll have them breathe deeply, relaxed, and feel the strength and the power of that other you who is now in you with all of those resources. And then that's it. You're done. And
That's it.
And it can literally be done in about 5 or 6 minutes. And people who've had a lifetime of suffering with something like a shellfish allergy. I dealt with one client who couldn't look at a picture of shellfish in a magazine. Couldn't touch it.
Yeah, without
She'd
a
start to
reaction.
getting a reaction. Isn't that wild? So this is using dissociation. This is a double dissociation. We've got the other you down there, and we've doubled it by adding the glass. That increases the dissociation.
Yeah, it's like not the classic double dissociation in NLP, but it has that same feeling of being even more separated because it's not just you over there at the end of the bowling alley. I'm going to use that one now.
I can see that.
But
You've
there's
used it about
this
4 times.
glass that's, separating you even further, and it's hermetically sealed, and there's nothing that can get from over there to where you are.
Right.
You're totally safe. So it's this wonderful, wonderful double
Now, what else
dissociation.
can you use it for? I used it with a dentist who's who's patient would
whose
gag,
patient was
gag out of
gagging.
control and throw up just when they, check him with a mirror or whatever. So the same thing, the other you goes through the dental thing, no problem. Then we pull him inside. And what could you put in your mouth that doesn't make you gag? Oh, food. And the other was eating food. Now he's having a dental exam and he's fine. Is it? Yeah, pull him inside. I look, I see the integration, lower lip size increases, flushing the face. And that's it. The kid integrated.
Yeah.
And amazing. So now that's interesting. How we're doing? Oh,
We're doing well on time. We're
and
probably
we've got to go to a special report, Chris, because we still have stuff to do.
Yes, we do. All right.
Tonight on the Dirigible Network, Return of the Little White Balloon.
It was a dark day when the little white balloon flew to the moon. Tommy felt lost and his life was now pointless without his rubber friend Alice. In vain, he had attempted to bring some happiness and contentment to his life, but despite his best efforts, life had seemingly lost all meaning and closely resembled the painting Lavender Mist by Jackson Pollock, or a Miles Davis trumpet solo, all highs and brilliance, but clouded by the absence of his dear Alice. In a funk of despair, Tommy took his raccoon and his friend Spunkaluccio and walked on the pristine sand dunes on Cape Cod. It was a quiet day, and Spunkaluccio attempted to cheer up Tommy by telling him all about the money he'd won at Belmont as jockey in the 6th race. But Tommy wasn't paying attention because he was caught up in the beauty of the sky as the falling twilight zoned its way down to the sand. And then he saw something wonderful. Directly over their heads, Tommy could see a small white object attempting to land against the resistance of the sea breeze. And then it happened. The Alice landed on Tommy's head, unstuck there, until Spunkaluccio pulled it off. The little white balloon had come back.
There once was a boy who lived near a dune. He walked over the sand with his pet raccoon, and with feelings of doom he stared at the moon and saw the return of the little white balloon.
The Return of the Little White Balloon, tonight at twilight on the Alice Cooper Network.
And we are back. All right. Let's go through. We still have to talk about
The spider fear.
how dissociation works in phobias. And we have an example again with our friend Maurizio, who was really not comfortable with spiders. And what happened, Mike?
I'm just doing the crawling hand thing like this, which you do really horribly. Like
Yeah, and
a
you're watching on the
tarantula.
monitor.
Yeah,
And he did a whole,
Yeah. Didn't like spiders. He said, I'm not afraid of them. Just they weird him out. He
And
didn't
that
like
part's
them.
not in the, we didn't catch that when we started the recording. So when Mike
Right.
was setting it up and saying, oh, you don't like spiders and did this thing, then at the end of the recording, when Mike did the check-in with him and said, how do you feel now? And he repeated the gesture and just went, kind of shrugged it off like,
brushed it off like,
no
yeah,
big
just
deal.
brush it off.
That was a great convincer. All right, talk about it.
Really cool. We call him Mal for short. It's a great name, like Mal Cat. Basically, what you're doing is you're taking any memory you don't like. It doesn't have to be a phobia. Human Givens theory used this a lot. All you have to do, if you have a memory that bothers you or a horrible event and you don't like thinking about, clear the negative emotion from it. And one of the easiest ways is to imagine a screen in front of you and black and white and grainy. The event is on that screen and you watch it. Now you can even dissociate again. You could put a second dissociation.
So
it's
here,
on a screen.
if you guys are the camera
Yeah.
and Mike is the one watching in black and grainy
Yeah.
the thing that he doesn't like,
Right.
the extra layer of dissociation would be Mike imagining that he's now in my chair,
Yeah.
turned watching himself
watch it.
watch the
Or,
screen.
Simplified, this does work as well, especially if it's not really major. You're watching the screen and imagine you put the bulletproof glass across, like in
Yeah.
the previous example. Double dissociation, extra strong. And the screen and the picture is very small. That increases dissociation. It's black and white and grainy, like an old movie. And you watch it to the end and just breathe and feel fine. And then imagine you float through the bulletproof glass into the event when it's over and you're safe again. And now it's full color and 3D. And you run it backwards in 2 seconds from inside the event with the sound, everything going backwards, every motion.
The key is full color, full 3D, fast, and backwards.
and associate it into it.
Yeah.
You can't have an emotion backwards. And then jump to the end and go backwards again and do that like 3 or 4 times in a row. Now, obviously, you're going to check the SUDS in advance to see how bad can I feel.
What's
if
SUDS? Subjective units of distress. So on a
How
scale
bad
of 0 to 10,
How bad can you feel
bad
right
or
now?
like what we like to say to our friend Michael C. Anthony when he's going through any hard times, we say, how bad is this on a scale of
That's
9
him.
to 10?
That's his line. Yeah. Yeah. How, on a scale of 8 to 10, how bad did you feel?
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're going to find out how bad you can make it feel at that moment, not how bad you felt at the time. But, you know, that argument, it was a horrible family blow up. I felt like it was about a 7 out of 10. Okay, feel it now. Feel
bad
it
can you
now.
make it now?
Yeah, I can make it. Oh, maybe it's about an 8. I can feel it now. When you run this at the end, check again. And you'll go, it will probably 0 it. And just repeat until it's completely gone. It's an immensely powerful thing. And the added secret I got from Griffin and Tyrrell.
Oh, yeah.
Games Theory, very relaxed when you do it. Get relaxed first and stay relaxed. It increases the power of this, and they use it for pretty well everything.
So this can be classically used on a phobia, which is why a lot of people call this the fast phobia cure.
Which was the original form.
Yeah, we won't call it a cure, but you're free to cure yourself of things.
So
but it's also called the rewind technique in NLP.
That's right.
Right.
We're rewinding an event from the inside of the experience after running it forward and graining.
So that first step was to first step 1, you're going to elicit how bad can I make this feel now when I imagine the spider on me? Or imagine there's a spider on your shoulder. How bad can you make it? Okay, X, get a number. Then you're going to do the double dissociation and be watching yourself, watching it on the TV. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. And you're going to get that grainy thing and you're watching it play out from the safety of the double dissociation. Watch it play out from beginning to end on the screen. Then jump into the screen, be in the experience, full color 3D, play the whole thing backwards, be in the experience backwards, and from that point you don't have to do the jumping out, jumping in again anymore. You can just stay associated and reimagine being at the end of the experience, rewinding it fast. Go to the end of the experience, rewind it. Do that a whole bunch of times, and then check in with yourself again.
You're actually rewriting it.
Right.
That's what's happening. You're not trying to convince yourself of something.
Plasticity.
There we go.
Again.
We have time to do just one more quick example.
Okay,
here. I want to mention this because we'll forget to do it otherwise. We had a great example of dental anesthesia in Architecture of Hypnosis. I demonstrated on Lisa, who's a very good friend of mine, and she's
this has nothing to do with dissociation, though. This is the opposite. It's
pretty
the
well
association. Okay,
but
this is cool.
It's firing an anchor, really. Lisa, like me, has had a ton of dental work. She's got British heritage, like me, born in England. Underneath these veneers are pirate teeth, Austin Powers teeth, but they're okay because I got veneers. Well, Lisa's had something like 12 root canals, 4 extractions. A ton of work done.
A lot of needles in the mouth.
A lot of needles in the mouth, even in the roof of the mouth. And so I bring her up to the front. We've done this before. And when a dentist goes after anesthesia, they either go right around the root of the tooth with the xylocaine, lidocaine, whatever they're using, or they inject into one of the large nerves. I don't know if that's masseter branch or buccal branch, the facial nerves, whatever, in here. And that will anesthetize a larger area. It's getting to a much more major nerve than the tiny one around the tooth. Well, when they do that, they do this. They grab your face. They
pull
and they do the needle like this. And so Lisa, that is so anchored, we bring her to the front, we videoed it, and I grab her face like that and pretend I'm putting in the needle, and I'm supporting it with direct suggestion in hypnosis, and this freezing starts to spread. And she sits there, and in 20 seconds, her face starts to go limp. She smiles only on one side. She says, reach my eye now. She have trouble talking. She actually starts drooling sometimes. Remember Taurus, the doctor who trained with us, medical doctor from Oakville, Ontario? He said, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. He said, I would have been convinced that woman had a stroke.
And he wasn't even a dentist.
No, he was
a family physician.
Yeah.
But this time we had a dentist.
An actual dentist in the class. Yeah. And he came right up to the front to look at the anesthesia and the slackness. He said, yep.
I think he says, yep, that's legit.
Yeah, something like he said, I see it.
You could see it just on video. We've posted this on YouTube.
Like limp. And it, like Tara said, she looked like she had a stroke.
And her talking was
down the side of the tongue.
Slurred. She felt like she was drooling at one point. She said, it's going into my eyes. I could feel it going because you know that feeling of,
oh, totally.
yeah.
You wouldn't know with your freaking perfect teeth, you and your wife.
Oh, I've had plenty of fillings and stuff where they've gone into the freezing and the whole area is all frozen, or in the upper teeth, it's all frozen right into almost into the eye, right? And it lasts like 2 hours or something. So I have had some experience with that.
Now,
but that was really cool because, again, all she had to do was imagine that she was in the experience, and Mike was using this as the anchor. And I'm doing for the audio.
I want to credit
people.
source. I got this from Richard Mandler. It's not my own thing, but it absolutely works.
Yeah.
You really need someone who's had a lot of dental surgery, though, to trigger this.
So you're using an anchor to fire an experience, which essentially is like hypnosis, without a formal induction in this case.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Very,
we're
cool.
out of time, so why don't you give us the empowering questions,
Okay,
Chris?
we're going to do an empowering question, and then we're going to wrap up this podcast. So first of all, actually, before we do that, let's just do a couple of lessons learned here. So your immune system, recap. You can retrain it if you model the idea that an allergen is something that the immune system is afraid of. It's not a pathogen. It's just a phobia of the immune system. We've talked about association allowing us to discharge feelings without feeling them, and that we can use that to cause phobias to vanish.
You said association.
Dissociation. I said dissociation. Pretty sure I said dissociation.
When you hear the
but
tape,
we'll use AI to fix it just in case, and I'll be able to claim that I was correct all along. Anyway, all right. So here's your empowering question. Then we're going to wrap up this podcast. Ask yourself, what part of this podcast opened my eyes to something that I can change in my own response to the world around me? And how will I use that insight to improve my life now?
Wow.
That I have decided to join the Brain Software Syndicate.
Brilliant.
All right.
I think that's a wrap.
That is a wrap. So we'll see you in the next podcast. Thanks once again.
And
good night.